There's something about getting lost off the beaten path in southern Vietnam.
I'm really lost.
The hum of the motorbike, the smell of coffee and freshly cooked food in the air.
Very good. Ah, amazing.
And the endless maze of rivers, canals and rice fields that make up the Mekong Delta. It's just massive. It's absolutely massive. I come from Australia, where we have a river and we call it the mighty Murray. Well, it's just got absolutely nothing on this. This is just incredible. Over the next 7 days, I'm riding from Ho Chi Minh City down to Trà Vinh, Sop Trăng and Bac Lieu before turning west to Can Tho and then all the way back again. It's a journey through back roads, markets, temples and eateries, and most of all, through the warmth and humour of the people who make this part of Vietnam so special.
It's a real community little hotspot, isn't it? And gossip corner.
There'll be great food, a breakdown here and there, a bit of history, and moments that remind me why I love this country.
It's enough, I think, just to stand out here and gaze at this amazing structure.
So get comfy and let's hit the road and join me on my ride through Vietnam's Khmer heartland of the Mekong Delta.
G'day guys, thanks for joining me. Well, I may have just chosen the best possible day to start my Mekong trip. I've been on the motorbike for about 2 hours, so I'm about 60 kilometres south of Ho Chi Minh City, and I'm on the outskirts of a small town called Go Com. And in many ways, it's really the gateway of the Mekong Delta. Anyway, I was driving along the highway and then I noticed this sign pointing to this Nguyen Dynasty era mausoleum complex. I've been to this area plenty of times. I've been into the town plenty of times before, but I've never actually been to this complex. So I'm pretty keen to check it out and to show you. After that, we're going to go into town. There's a couple of other things I want to show you as well. Maybe have a coffee and a little bit of lunch and then continue on our way to Trà Vinh. All right, let's go and check this place out.
So this is Lung Hoang Ya, or the Royal Mausoleum. Now, why is this complex here, and why have I brought you here? Well, in the early 1800s, the Pham family built it here, and it honours Pham Dang Hung, a high-ranking Mandarin under Emperor Ya Lom, and the grandfather of Emperor Tu Duc. Emperor Tu Duc is one of the most well-known emperors of the Nguyen Dynasty era. Not only because he reigned for the longest time of all emperors, but his reign also coincided with the French invasion of southern Vietnam and the beginning of French colonisation in this part of Vietnam, which was then given the name Cochin China. The Pham family chose to build the mausoleum here in Go Com because this was their ancestral land and it lay at the heart of their lineage. At the entrance stands this striking building that's more temple than tomb. Hang about, the tomb is coming, and the outside clearly pays homage to French colonial era design, while inside reflects what you might call more traditional Sino-Vietnamese design aesthetics, with its dark timbers and gold characters and motifs. The striking wooden altars are where I presume relatives and members of the community still come to burn incense and pay their respects today. Overall, I love how it's finished with its rather ornate carvings, and I get the sense that this place has just been done up. It's good to see that this hasn't been left to rot, and that it remains a living, breathing place of worship. And it also has the added bonus of being directly connected to Vietnam's fascinating royal past.
So it's very nicely kept, and I'm the only one here, which is really cool. So it's super peaceful, except for the crowing rooster next door, but it's just really beautifully done, and the attention to detail is spot on. Okay, so there's another place around here, or another mausoleum that the uncle's going to show me. It's nice and cool in these gardens.
giếng.
Nước hả? Nước.
Giếng vị.
Oh.
Mấy trăm năm.
Mấy trăm năm?
Rồi công là
gần 150.
Mấy trăm, 300 luôn.
Ok.
Rồi công là biển, nước mặn.
Ok, nước mặn.
Mà cái đó nước ngọt. 300.
Nước ngọt hả?
Nước ngọt.
350 năm.
Bà đó nhà ở đây sinh hoạt cái giếng đó đó, xài cái giếng đó uống.
Wow. Bây giờ uống được không?
Còn khách đó tâm linh hay uống.
Không được. Được. Oh, okay.
Ah.
So he's telling me that this well here is about 300 to 350 years old. And where we caught the ferry earlier in the day, he said that the water is sort of, and he said the water's sweet. But the connection to the ferry earlier today is that area was called Nukman. And so there's some kind of connection to that, and the water's drinkable, he said. 350 years. 350 năm. Khoang. Huh? Very interesting. Wow. I'm not sure I'm going to drink out of it though, but he's not offering. This is the awesome thing about coming to places like this that are off the beaten path a little bit, even though the highway is just, 100 metres away. But to be here at this time of day with no one else around, I get my own free guided tour. I might have to give him a tip though, I think. Oh, look at this tree. I know the tree mightn't look much to you, but when you live in a city like Ho Chi Minh City where there are limited green spaces and you come across trees like this and gardens like this, it's just such a nice experience. It's pretty hard to put into words. It's just nice and cool and fresh. If you live in Ho Chi Minh City, you'll get what I'm talking about. Wow, look at this. Okay, looks a bit like maybe this is the mausoleum, the tomb.
Yeah, so this is where the actual tomb itself lies, in a quiet part of the garden, shaded by those magnificent trees, and partly enclosed by the stone walls. At the centre is the tomb of Pham Dang Hung. You'll remember he was a mandarin under Emperor Yalom, and significantly, the grandfather of Emperor Duduk. The tomb's constructed in stone, following Feng Tui, or Feng Shui principles, perfectly balanced, facing auspicious directions, and surrounded by smaller tombs holding his wife and family members. Together they form a peaceful courtyard that feels more like a garden than a cemetery. After Pham Dang Hung's death in 1825, his daughter had the complex expanded and restored to reflect the dignity of a royal ancestor. 2 centuries later, the Royal Mausoleum remains one of the most beautiful and well-preserved family tombs in southern Vietnam. A monument to not only loyalty, legacy and Vietnamese architecture, but also to the fascinating, tumultuous and relatively recent history of Vietnam.
This headstone here is entirely in Chinese, so I can't read Chinese, so I can't really work it out. But behind it here, I'm assuming this is the tomb right here. It's pretty elaborate, isn't it? Okay, so this is obviously the headstone of somebody's tomb here, and I'm not sure. I don't know. It's pretty hard to read, but it says Bear, Captain. It's hard to see. Dien Terry de Marine. So I'm guessing something like, mariner or Navy captain. This is where knowing French would probably be quite useful, but I'll look it up on ChatGPT later. Maybe it's not a tombstone, because at the bottom here it says souvenir de comrades. So maybe it's some kind of gift that was given when this mausoleum here was set up. But one little thing is that you might not be able to see, and just inlaid in here is all Chinese characters engraved into the concrete. This one looks to be fully in Chinese. I'm not sure if you can see. There. Look at that. So if this one here is as old as that one over there, that would make it at least 160 years old, so hence why things are hard to read on here. But down the bottom you can still see all of those Chinese characters there, whereas these ones, perhaps the ones that were here, have worn away over the years and perhaps been touched. I probably shouldn't touch it, to be honest. You know, I'm only, a couple of hours, maybe 3 hours into this trip, and already I've come to a spot like this and learnt something already. The uncle over there just told me that this particular tomb is about 250 years old. But just amazing that you can come here, it's free, and the garden's, you know, little bit unkept, but I'm just loving the shade, and a beautiful place to have lunch. So yeah, now I'm regretting saying to my wife, don't bother making lunch, when she offered. Speaking of lunch, let's go and have some.
I roll into Golcom at about 11:30, and the heat is hitting me, the kind that feels like it's searing the skin on the back of your neck. But the town is buzzing. The streets around the market are alive with the sound of vendors calling out, woks sizzling, grills spewing out smoke, and motorbikes weaving through lunchtime traffic. This is the heart of Golcom, a town with deep roots in Vietnamese history, tied to the Nguyen dynasty and famous national figures like Trung Dinh, whose final resting place can be found here. Everywhere I look, people are out shopping for vegetables, noodles, snacks, whatever they need for their midday meal. It's chaotic in the best possible way. I'm hot, hungry, and more than ready to join in, so I find a spot near the market to grab something to eat. A quick meal, an iced drink, and a moment to cool down is exactly what I need before I push on toward Trà Vinh.
Such a lovely little town this. I really should spend more time here. It's steeped in history, and these beautiful communal houses that are sort of right in the centre of town, and then there's the old French colonial era buildings and the buildings from pre-1975, and then of course post-75 as well. Just a really interesting little town. Very hot though, super hot. So I found this little cafe here just to take a break and to eat my lunch. Near the market, I found a lady selling bun bao. I didn't want anything too hot and huge for my lunch, although I did end up buying the big one. There are 3 different sizes and I've got the large. I don't really know what's in it, but I'm assuming there's some pork in it and mushrooms maybe. But yeah. This one's pretty big, as you can see. Nothing yet. Salted egg. Yep, and pork. This is a tea place. They don't actually do sort of fruit juices per se, but they'll do tea with fruit juices in it. So this one's a tea, orange juice and honey. It's really good too.
Leaving Golcom, I know I've still got about 100 kilometres to go before I reach Trà Vinh. On Google Maps, it doesn't seem far, but out here on the back roads of Vietnam, 100 kilometres can easily take the rest of the day. There are rest breaks, ferry crossings, roadworks, and of course, getting lost all ahead of me. And I'm off to a good start with a couple of wrong turns straight out of town. But that's all part of the trip.
Oh shit!
Eventually I find the right road and soon the noise of Golcom fades behind me. Soon enough, the landscape opens up and I get my first real glimpse of what the rest of this journey will feel like. Rice fields, narrow canals and tiny villages nestled between crops of rice, coconuts and banana plantations. The pace shifts instantly. The hustle and bustle of town life gives way to the slower, steadier rhythm of the Mekong Delta. Now, it's just up to me to keep this show on the road and to deal with whatever surprises the day serves up to me.
Alright, so I've made it to some nondescript ferry terminal somewhere on one of the many islands that the Mekong River makes. Of course, the Mekong River in these parts is called Gulom, which refers to the nine-tailed dragon. And so when the Mekong River comes into Vietnam, it kind of splits into, well, traditionally splits into 9 sort of different rivers, and they say that they are the tails. So I've actually crossed the Mekong River technically twice. Here we go, here's a couple of little dogs here, got a couple of little friends standing there. So I've actually crossed the Mekong twice already today, I think, and I'm about to cross it the third time, and it looks like it's the biggest section, and the ferry took off in that direction somewhere there. I can see a church over there, so I'm wondering whether it goes over there or not. I'm not too sure. And then I have to go across. That's another island over there, and then I'm not too sure if there's a bridge or a ferry that I need to take to get across onto or to near Trà Vinh city. So still got a little bit to go, and I think I've got a little bit of waiting around, which is fine because it's still fairly early in the day. But I've just noticed those clouds coming in, and I'm getting drops of rain as I speak. So I think by the time I get to Trà Vinh, I might be pretty damp. So I've made it on the ferry, and just about every man and his dog and his cows as well. Come by. I wish I had some smell-o-vision because you'd be able to smell it as well. Oh, they're hearing a strange language. Okay, I'll go around this side, huh? I hope I don't spook them. Where are they? Here they are. Going across the Mekong. I better not get too close. I don't want to spook them. Or they might end up in the river. So I actually don't know how long this trip across the river is going to take, and no one's come and asked for a ticket yet, so maybe I have to pay on the other side. How incredible is this river? As I mentioned earlier, it's like one of 9 where the Mekong splits into different sort of tributaries. And I know I've said it before on other videos, but it's just massive. It's absolutely massive. I come from Australia, where we have a river and we call it the mighty Murray. Well, it's just got absolutely nothing on this. This is just incredible. Alright, so I'm dead set, stone cold lost. The last ferry that I took dropped me unexpectedly out of the way compared to the route that I'd chosen to go on. And so I've left my directions in the trusty hands of Google Maps, and I've wound up out here. The problem is it's getting dark. It's beautiful. Look at it. It's absolutely stunning. But the problem is I've got 2 more ferries to get, and the sun's already starting to get low and I'm lost. So, I don't want to risk those ferries. I don't want to get stuck at whatever point. I don't know. One of them goes on to another one of those islands. So, I don't know what the deal is, but I don't want to get on one and then not get to the other one in time and be stuck on some island somewhere with nowhere to stay or what. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the longer route. I'm going to try and get myself out of this situation. And according to Google Maps, there is a bridge, but it's about 50 minutes away. That's if I don't get lost again. So I'm going to go and try and find that bridge, and that'll take me sort of around into Trà Vinh that way. So I mean, if you're going to get lost, this is probably one of the spots you'd like to do it, hey? Have a look at that. Alright, well, I've been feverishly trying to find a route. I've found one. I better get into it, I guess. Alright, let's do it. I'm really lost, man. I don't know what all this means. I've got to somehow get onto this track. And there somehow. This will be interesting. Come on. Coming on. I am so out of the way. It's not funny. Well, it is funny actually. I mean, that's the only thing I can do right now is laugh about it and just take my time. And hello, Con. Yeah, it's telling me I'm going the wrong way again. I'm going to stop here. Hello Em, how are you? And be luck. Trà Vinh. Alright, so I made it finally. You know, sometimes getting lost is a good thing. You know, it took me down a route that I probably wouldn't have taken on this trip, and it turns out it was a really nice stretch of road, and the gardens were amazing the whole way. You know, for about 30 minutes, 45 minutes or so, it was amazing. And an amazing sunset as well that I happened to catch while I was going over the bridge, which I wouldn't have seen probably if I'd been on time and found the ferries that I'd planned to go on. So yeah, there's always a silver lining, and as it happened I didn't arrive here too late anyway. It was probably 6:30 or something by the time I got here. And across the street from the place that I'm staying at, there's this great little bun nem place, so some little pork
what do you call them? I don't know. Barbecued pork with some noodles, a little bit of bun, tons of greens. Look at this. Hey, look at that. That's huge. Looks sensational. And the little wrappers as well that I'll wrap it up in. So like a little spring roll. A kind of chili and the peanut dipping sauce as well. I don't know if you can see that. But yeah, it looks really good. So yeah, it was a long day and good to be here though. And I'm looking forward to tomorrow. I don't know how I'm going to pull up. I think I'm going to go and have a beer after this. I need to have a beer as well. And a couple of beers and straight to bed, I think. So, and then tomorrow probably go and find something great for brekkie. All right. Cheers. That's it for this one.